Bum ba bum bum. Hey everyone, it's Kevin, joined here at the table by Andy and our good friend and colleague Andrew Payne. Andrew is with us today as a co-founder and chief brand architect of Slate Media, as well as CEO of Payne Advertising. He's been in all kinds of spaces and places with regards to being a CMO at one time or another, been in PR, a producer for Fortune 100 and 500 companies, and an author, particularly I believe it was my notes here, the greatest author alive.
Yes.
Is that accurate?
Currently living.
Currently living.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm glad I got that right.
Yes. I second that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Did I leave anything out?
No, I mean, you could go on if you want to, but
There's not enough time. I'm sorry.
No, Andrew is so smart, so qualified, and you're so experienced. We wanted you to bring your wisdom, knowledge, insights to the table today. So thanks for being here.
thank you. And I'm just going to be honest with you. I've watched Creative Table, and I wondered when I might get the call. Better late than never.
Better
Thanks,
late than
guys.
Calendar was looking kind of empty, so we no.
I know. I'll try to eat the microphone as well.
So what are we tackling today,
Yeah.
Andrew?
We're tackling what I think should be the headline every day on every newspaper or digital paper, if you will. The headline every day is AI.
I almost was going to say buy Bitcoin. No,
That's the next
I don't.
headline.
Every time the more I read about it, the more I look into it, the more I use it, I'm like, how is this not really more talked about than it is? I think we are at an inflection point right now. I was
Skynet is being built.
It is. I mean, this is all fun and games until we end up on a mission to Saturn and then become like a little fetus at the end of the 2001.
Right.
Because this is where it is. And I was at the Adobe conference in Vegas this spring, and it was all about generative AI.
Yeah.
And it really felt almost apocalyptic to me as I am in these crowds of some of the brightest people in the business and what we do. In marketing, in the creative space, in video production. And every demonstration that was done, people were just applauding and celebrating. And I'm sitting back, the writer in me, of course, and like, you are applauding your own destruction. Do you not see where this is going?
Right.
We're all going to be out of a job. I left Vegas with an impending sense of doom after seeing all of these tools.
How fast they've been developed and brought
how
on.
fast, that's exactly right.
Nobody even knows they're even.
Why is nobody figuring out what comes next? How can nobody see? How am I the only one seeing the pattern here? I feel like I should be with a sandwich board in Times Square saying, repent now, the end is near. And that's what I am. I'm a prophet of doom with AI. And at worst, I'm wrong.
Right.
And everybody's fine.
Right.
But I am kind of camping out in the area of how can we protect what we're doing?
And when you're saying that, are you saying that across all creative endeavors, or are you thinking like as a writer?
I'm saying
mostly,
that. I'm
or are you
saying
just
that
saying?
for engineers. I'm saying that for architects.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying that for lawyers.
But
I think that we are on, what is it, like the leading edge in our space, I think might be the very first space to face wide disruption.
The creative space.
The creative space, exactly.
Yep.
With AI.
Because somebody will trust a video generated by AI before they trust a bridge built by AI.
Yeah.
Right. You don't want to be the first guy driving
This
across.
bridge was entirely built by AI. Go ahead.
As you're
try
driving
it.
by the sign that says that, and you're like, I hope this works.
Exactly. But I mean, not to be conspiratorial or anything, but I think that we don't know which parts of that bridge were built by AI.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting, because you have this idea on one hand, which I think is everybody's like first reaction to it. When you see like, oh, they're not only is it they look like ChatGPT's added in like, more personality and like human sounding. Like if you notice ChatGPT, when you have conversations with it, it now breathes. That's not. I I mean, it's been doing that for, at least I noticed it a couple months back or more, but just a little between the words. And you're like, okay, really? We don't now I'm supposed to hear your breathing as if it's like next phase. Like I'm just going to forget, right? That by the time my grandkids are coming up, they're just going to go, that's just, that's another human, right?
Yeah.
You could feel like the short circuit Johnny Five, like, I'm alive, Johnny.
It's like,
at best, it's Johnny Five.
and it's like, I kind of want to hear positive feedback from my AI.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm like, what do you think of this letter that I just wrote?
Right.
Andrew, you're really in the zone now. This is
right.
And I'm like, don't let that make you feel good, Andrew, to hear that, that I kind of liked it.
Right. But you start there, right?
Yes.
It's easy to start there, I should say. And this idea that like, this is something that's disruptive. I didn't even know it existed. And now there's this whole crowd of people, the brightest minds are cheering it on. How do I respond in a way that isn't just go home and lay down and take a nap every day and just quit my job because I know my job's, this idea that like learn to drive the steamroller, we say, lest you be, run over or steamrolled by the steamroller. So,
and those who do not embrace it will be steamrolled.
Right.
I can guarantee you that.
100%. I feel the same way.
There's no way.
I think
there's no way.
Yeah, the CEO of NVIDIA just said that yesterday, right?
Oh, I didn't catch that one.
Somebody posted it in I think Eli posted it in our Discord that he said, the people, AI won't kill your job.
It'll be, your job will be taken by someone who knows AI.
Uses AI.
Yeah, that phrase has been said.
It's not a new thought necessarily, but
it's been
for
one
him
of those,
to come say it is definitely a stamp,
Yes. And this is where I become even more cynical is if we're talking to like younger creatives, people who are stepping into this space, my warning, again, after I've done a few, is just beware of the grifters. There are a lot of grifters out there, and I read them all on my X feed.
And for those watching who may be over a certain age going, wait, what's a grifter? Like,
yes.
Pause and define that.
Con men.
Yeah.
People, PT Barnum gets a bad rap, but it feels like I've got the answers. I'm an AI expert.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just laughable. That's an oxymoron
on
its face. Nobody is an AI expert. AI is an expert.
AI is coding itself now.
Yes. And so, well, no, now, you're not the writer. Now you're the editor. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Right.
Okay. So now you can pay me half as much as you would have paid me to write it.
That is a hard thing, right? Because now you're sitting here going, I used to charge, I don't know, let's make this up. I used to charge $1,000 to write this speech or $5,000 to write this speech.
Yeah.
And now I'm expected to write it in half the time. And maybe I do with the tools that I now have at my disposal. But does that mean that you're charging $2,500, or does that mean is that the client's expectation that you're doing? Or in some cases, I know some creatives are able to, and we've heard this from some editor friends of ours, where they can use these tools to speed up their workflow, and the client's just as happy. They're charging just as much, but they're doing it in half the time. But people haven't quite caught on.
Today they are.
That's right. We're in this like middle ground, liminal space between like, you're expected to use this workflow to get it done in this short amount of time. But right now you're able to do it because they think you're using the traditional workflow.
Yes.
And no one knows about this.
Yes.
So,
and I'm like, how many M dashes did they use in that script? And
and get it while you can. There's a lot of opportunity there.
I think it's a mad rush right now. I think to win on volume because of how the speed, and I was a late adopter. I don't use it to like write creative scripts, but I use it a lot.
Yeah.
Like I'm holding this pen, like I have graph paper. I would write all my scripts in longhand. It would take me a week if somebody said I need a script and it was like something reasonable, like a 2-minute piece or a 3-minute piece. I would use every bit of that week too. You can ask some of my clients. I'm sure they would tell you.
But it was worth it on the back end.
It was
good
worth
stuff.
It.
Yeah.
It was worth it. Went longhand, paper after paper. So I had to fill the words, right?
Right.
I did. And I didn't invent that. I mean, I think Herman Melville wrote Moby Dick longhand before. Can you imagine that? Before it was published. And so now it's like they don't want it in a week. They want it in a day and a half.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm afraid people are just going to learn to be comfortable with a certain level of mediocrity because it was cheap and because it was fast.
It was good enough.
And I'm sorry to get philosophical, but what in our culture today leads you to believe that people want the artisan?
Oh, lots of things. I mean, starting with never mind.
My bad.
But
like you think about it, just like centuries ago, how they used to build cathedrals.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. If you see a side by side of a cathedral and a government building now, or even a church now.
Yeah. Take your average mega church that was constructed in 18 months.
You could go to just residences, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I'm sure the guys centuries ago would have been like, whatever the new technology was, I mean, it's the same argument. I think it's the same exact argument that we're making. And so you can just be regarded as a legendary architect who died penniless. And now everybody loves to visit your cathedral. Or you can figure out how to design a building in a fraction of the time and just keep putting food on the table. I'm sorry, this is not an inspirational talk, but I think we have to get real and, again, avoid the grifters that are saying they've got it figured out. They don't have it figured out. We don't know how fast and how far this is going to go in such a short amount of time.
I think it dulls our creative senses too, right? Like we've talked before about how I used to have to think when I drive. I have to think about where I'm going. Now I use Google Maps so much just as a default.
Yes.
I can't even drive home without it on because I'm like, I'll, turn off the old exit I used to live on and forget to go to the new exit. Like, and as creatives, like if we can just make a building by saying, take the best part of this one with the windows of this one, and I like the foundation of this, and give me like a new design. I'm not doing the cognitive work now, and I think we just turn into.
And you know what you're not doing?
Slugs.
You're not growing.
Yeah, you're not growing.
Because you can't grow without struggle. And writing something from a scratch piece of paper, designing a building, starting off a cocktail napkin, something that's work.
Yeah.
That is work. It is struggle. And when you're done with it, you have grown. We're avoiding that now. I think I'm what do we say? Gen Z? Is that the youngest on the rise generation?
Gen Alpha.
Now? Yeah. Gen Alpha. My daughter is 16, learning to drive. She doesn't know where a street is. She could not. I've played the game with her. It's like, let's turn it off. Can you drive home from school with me? A path that we have been on 100,000 times.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, I mean, she's brilliant.
No, I mean, I do.
She doesn't know which way to turn.
Yeah.
And therefore, and I didn't know how.
You should fire up some MapQuest.
I didn't know how prescient I was. When I moved to Atlanta, I told her, I said, how do you know your way around Atlanta? Like 20-something years ago, 25 years ago. I would just go get lost.
Yep.
I would drive around and get lost. And I would do that like on a Saturday morning or something. And then sometimes I was just plain lost, trying to get somewhere. But I figured out where I was going because of that. And I don't think that is lost. That is an experience that I think is going to be wholly lost. And it's the same thing, writing a script, writing a speech, writing content, creating a campaign. You get lost. You get lost in your idea. You get lost in where you're headed with your goal. And then maybe the client checks you. Maybe your teammate checks you. Maybe your focus group checks you and you say, okay, let's move. Let's readjust. Let's pivot. I didn't want to use the word, but let's pivot until you find your way. And then you've grown. Your agency has grown.
There's learning in the lost.
There is learning in the lost. And we are not learning anymore.
Yeah. Even Sylvester Stallone said the same thing a year or so ago. I remember he was like, what are we supposed to do? Just put our brains, I guess we're all just going to put our brains in the pickle jar and put it on the shelf.
Yeah.
Because he still writes long form in the notebooks and things for his films, and his processes, out loud and so
could Rocky 1 have been written by AI? Could that movie have been produced using AI?
I think
you talk about a movie that had heart.
Yeah,
100%. It's my favorite film. I think for me that you can't give away something you don't have. And you really have to have experienced love and loss and like, been the underdog and gained something. You had to really bring that story to life and put some of yourself into it, right?
Can't just be like run underdog algorithm.
Right.
Yes.
It's like,
insert training montage
let me just talk about something I've heard about versus let me put myself and these experiences into the story. And I think that, is something that, is on the chopping block because there are other things that are good enough, quote unquote, defined by profit, of course. That's why they make so many Transformers movies that keep getting worse and worse and worse because there's still money on the table, right? You're not going to ever see those things end until people just finally go, no, we're not going to do that. And then they start losing money.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But for me, it feels like there's an opportunity in multiple ways. Trying to be, the optimist to me is like, from the top and the bottom, educating the people on the bottom, I'll say, to learn the tools to stay ahead, how to think and act differently, to develop, to take advantage of these, agentic workflows or whatever it may be, to keep up and maintain, to be able to continue to eat and live indoors, right?
Yes,
Nice. And then from the top down, educating leaders on, hey, why should you, be pro-human versus pro-machine? And what are the implications, and what are some ways maybe you can have your cake and eat it too? And there's opportunities to create solutions on both fronts. Mm-hmm. And people that see that, I think, are really benefiting right now. There are people on, you see them on LinkedIn that have popped up that are basically like the sort of, not everybody's an expert and no one person is, but there are starting to be those SMEs that pop up and say, hey, here's what I made. And I appreciate this you never saw this before, but there's this sort of consistent, like, flourishing transparency about like, hey, I made this thing. It's raw. It's rough. It represents my thoughts. I used this and this and this to do it. I'm just one person. It took this long. And then it's almost like real-time open source artistic development is happening constantly, at least on my feed as I've developed it.
Yeah.
And there's opportunities there to kind of collect all that and then say, hey, here's some standards we can create. But of course, the difficulty is every time you get those standards together, suddenly over here is another thing that is twice as fast and cost half as much and wasn't there a week ago.
Right.
So that's a difficulty, but every challenge is just an opportunity waiting to be, put in place. Or a solution waiting to happen.
Well, there are a lot of solutions waiting to happen.
Like open a gun store and buy a BTC and build a bunker and...
So I'll give you a slight glimmer of hope, Andrew. There might be a little hope.
All right.
Saw this headline yesterday.
Now,
there's one word that concerns me in this headline, right? YouTube officially ends monetization for inauthentic AI-generated music and videos. So it does sound good on the surface for creatives.
Oh, yeah.
But the word inauthentic jumped out to me. Like, are they going to have a AI that says this is or isn't authentic enough to earn money? So I don't know what that means, but as you know, I got a kid that's a film school graduate, and I got a kid right now that's in music and production school. So, man, talk about just you're in the middle of learning a creative craft.
I know.
While you're watching maybe the world shifting under your feet. Like that is I haven't really thought through it that much until you brought that up a minute ago. But yeah,
I've wondered, like, what are colleges going to do? I've got a, almost 16-year-old who's going to be, 2.5 years looking at college, and yet colleges, man, I can't. It's only been 2.5 years, I feel like, since this everything kind of got going, and you think, what are colleges going to do when everybody's
they have got to be panicking.
Yeah,
you would go to your world history class in college, whatever, and there would be an elderly man with wiry hair coming out of his ears who could tell you everything you needed to know about the French Revolution.
Right.
Everything.
Or business or whatever.
Expert. And you're thinking, at least I was when I was sitting in that classroom, is like, I am so glad I'm here and I can hear him speak about this topic as the expert. Where else can I get this information the way he's presenting it?
Right.
Game over. Game over. You don't go to college anymore to learn from people who know things.
Well, not even just college, but like expensive private schools have got to be thinking, how do we keep our perceived value high to parents to make a choice not to go to public school, but to go to private school? But
yeah, I mean, I could get into that a little bit, but I could also say, what are you providing here? You're providing a 4-year beer pong tournament, and I think that's what people are kind of paying for. Is like, we're not ready for our kid to grow up.
That's true.
And learn to wash his own clothes immediately. So let's give him a little bit more time in the incubator.
Mm-hmm.
But are you going because that college has the market cornered on this knowledge? That is no longer the case.
Yeah. It is tricky because there's that intangible value of the network, right? And the relationships and who you know, and your net worth is your network, that whole phrase.
Mm-hmm.
So it will maybe come down to which college provides the best network, opportunities versus like just the pure knowledge. The knowledge has been a big thing, but like with the right AIs in place, it's like, communities college and Harvard come down to the same level, and now it's just about the network.
Yes. Yes, and I think it's just making us very cynical. And it's obviously made me very cynical.
Yeah.
But let me, on the positive side, AI is a life hack. It's an absolute life hack. We had a fender bender in my family a couple of days ago, and you have to navigate insurance and claims and doing things. And I would have never known how to handle this situation properly if it wasn't for AI.
Right.
5 years ago, I would have absolutely signed off on the wrong document. And I was talking to my wife, I was like, I am so glad that this exists, even though ironically, I think it's an assassin. But it's anything like that. It's like I needed to install a brake light.
Sure.
Yeah, I
it's
can
more
do this
useful
now.
than a YouTube video now, almost.
So much more useful. You can have this conversation with it.
Yeah.
But going back to Adobe and the conference, and it's how products are marketed, how we're being marketed, how the algorithmic nature of what is happening to society right now.
Mm-hmm.
And does anybody even know good art anymore when they see it?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm always writing. I've written a couple of books, and I've gone back and I'm revising one that is near and dear to my heart, and I'm going to put out a new version of it.
Yeah.
And I am going to do an Audible version because I don't know that people are picking up and reading books anymore. So, but I think they'll listen.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be good and be funny and all that kind of thing. But it's a shame because the artist in me is like, people are going to think I used AI to write this.
Yeah.
And I didn't.
Right.
Like I struggled for every sentence and every word.
Yeah.
And
It'll be like the non-GMO project that gets stamped on the food in the grocery store.
Exactly.
GMO free. And you're like, AI free. I struggled through every sentence.
Yeah. I mean, but that's your pride. Don't let pride get in the way of your business at the same time. Like if you're doing this work, you've got to get paid. You've got to get paid what it's worth. And what is it worth? And how do you convince clients this is what my IP is worth?
For me, that's a good segue because at the top of the conversation, we mentioned, you're co-founder of Slate Media, you're CEO of Payne Advertising. You're launching, this company that, it sounds like you would run from the opportunity, but to be someone who at the same time sees the threat, you also see some semblance of a solution. Otherwise, you wouldn't be launching, what you are. So I think, talk to us a little bit about that. What is the silver lining, or the way that people can look at look out at the horizon and see opportunities, see the, get up in the morning and continue to go fish, creatively speaking.
You're right. It's I think it's something we're all wrestling with. But at the end of the day, you're still selling to humans.
Mm-hmm.
And you need a human filter. And you need somebody you can trust who can dial in and know when you are speaking in a human voice
mm-hmm.
and when you're not. And if you know how to write, I think Stephen King once said, you can break the rules of grammar, when you're writing if you know the rules of grammar.
Mm-hmm.
And as a creative, you can kind of break some creative rules if you know the rules. And if you know the rules, if you know how to put something together, if you've studied and you've gotten lost
Yeah.
along the way so many times, that I think that is an advantage to you in an AI-driven world with the right client that values that human filter, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And one area I think, like just speaking personally about what I think I can do that AI doesn't really touch is humor.
Mm-hmm. It tries, but it is definitely not.
It cannot. I don't want to see a robot stand-up comic.
Right.
Although I think it'd be funny for a few jokes.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like a ventriloquist. After a while, you're like, okay. But I think that if you can write with heart and humor, and you can tell stories with heart and humor, and if companies, if brands want to communicate with heart and humor, there's not a space for AI yet to take its place.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're just conveying messages that have a lot of data in it, and
how-to videos,
you can't. I mean, I can't compete. I cannot compete with AI on something like that.
Yeah.
So what's your message to, you said at the top, you're kind of a late adopter, I think, or you said you were kind of late to the game of
which itself is
leveraging
relative because what's late? And
right.
You were 2 weeks late.
2 minutes.
Yeah.
But now that you're in it a little bit and you're probably starting to use some tools in some ways, even though you're still a longhand guy, like what do you speak back into like that young creative, especially the writers, because that's what you are at heart. Like,
yeah.
What's your advice in terms of like approaching the tools?
Yeah, I would say learn to install heating and air conditioning. I'm really not even being sarcastic.
I learned to leverage your.
I was at a red light yesterday next to an installer truck, and I thought maybe I need to call this guy.
Yes,
that guy's like, I used to do that. You in the film business? I used to do that.
I know. But seriously, if my air conditioning were to go out today, you talk about a person I'm not going to haggle with over price.
Right.
On January 15th.
Right.
I'm sorry, July 15th.
Yeah. Well, on January as well.
Same thing.
Same thing.
So whatever he says, I'm like, okay.
Right. I mean, the trades, right? All the trades.
I'm being tongue in cheek, and I'm not being sorry. I know a lot of good people in that industry. Yeah. And, but I think about that. What am I telling I'll do you one better. I'll tell you what I'm telling my own kids, because my son is going to be a freshman in college this fall. And to your point, I'm like, get your network together.
Mm-hmm.
You go out and you meet everybody you can while you're there. And you take on as many opportunities you can to be around, because I don't know what's coming up. But those people who are just kind of wallflowers, like I'm introspective. I'm just judging everybody in the room.
Right.
And writing, that you're going to get steamrolled. You got to fake being an extrovert and build your network. And if you want to pursue a creative path, because I know that's the brand that we're on, it's even more important. I think it's even more important to share stories. How are you figuring this out? What has worked for you? And don't be arrogant. A lot of creatives are. That's kind of tough. Don't be arrogant. You don't know what's coming next.
Yeah.
You don't know what's coming next. And don't think that you've got it figured out. Save your acorns and just be a good person. Treat your clients well. And
hospitality.
It's about
Don't underestimate the value of hospitality.
Do not. Try to anticipate people's needs as much as possible. They still need us. The world still needs. I think the world needs us more than the world thinks it needs us.
I mean, you kind of think about it. I was sitting here listening to you thinking the creatives really built the world anyway. Yeah. So they're the ones who, it's the creative mind that came up with the concept of AI in the first place, and then put it to use. Right. I mean, humans. What separates us from any kind of animal is just the idea of creativity. So
when do you think that we're no longer an AI partner?
When the AI decides
I'm being serious. When do you think that we become subservient to AI? At what point? What do you think will be the tell that I just, in what I'm doing in my work, just became subservient to
I think
AI.
it's when the first company requires their contractors to maybe the work to be approved by their AI. You know, so if I'm doing work for big giant megacorp X and they say, yeah, the video looked great, but we're required to run it through our AI for approval. Now I'm inclined and incentivized, if I can, to leverage an AI on my behalf so that my AI is submitting to their AI for a higher chance of passing whatever the algorithm says is acceptable as a product.
That's a great answer.
So that would just be a domino effect.
Then who's running the shop?
Exactly.
Yeah. Stay tuned for next time when we discuss
No, that's a great
the
point,
evil
though, dude.
wizard behind the curtain.
Yeah.
It'll fall quick when it falls, I think. I think that'll happen really quick.
And I think we're seeing that in our lived experience.
Yeah.
Everything's exponential. What you thought couldn't be done and this is kind of like getting into morality, but what you thought couldn't be done on television 10 years ago is now whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Remember when Friends was like a little like risque,
Yes.
right? Back in the day? And
Yes.
It's like nothing. But yeah, I mean, it's sort of like the AI checkers, right? The schools are using the things and clients using things to see if stuff's written by AI. I think that's the like baby step toward that ultimate like requirement.
It is. I know I'm getting philosophical here, but human beings have been warned about AI forever. It really has.
And particularly lately by the people who are at the top of the AI food chain are also speaking out, although they're not getting the press because what they're saying is we need to slow down. And what, other nations are saying is if we slow down, we lose. And if I can't let you win, and you're looking at me saying I can't let you win, so we're all just running towards the fire kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yes, but think about it on the user end. What we've allowed the algorithms to do to us. Homer in the Odyssey wrote about the sirens that had these beautiful singing voices that the sailors could hear, and they had all the knowledge and all the beauty, and the sailors could not resist the knowledge and beauty, and they wrecked themselves on the shores because it was irresistible. Tolkien, The Ring of Power. It wasn't a pleasurable experience, but it was something that once you had it, it just hollowed you out.
Yeah.
And another book of one of my favorites is Infinite Jest. It's written in 96 by David Foster Wallace. And before really the internet took on, he was kind of like ahead of his time. It was brilliant. He wrote about this film cartridge. It was called The Entertainment. And governments were trying to get a hold of this one film cartridge that when you started watching The Entertainment, it was so pleasurable. It was unalloyed pleasure. You could not do anything else and you just rotted. If you just started watching it. That's not what the entire book is about. But in a way, these are the same warnings. And again, I'm going to repent now. The end is near. But what are we doing when Daddy goes and watches TikToks in his chair on a Sunday? I am invested, and it is just going straight. It's just a straight dopamine fix,
Right.
And I'm one person. There are billions of people doing this. Again, I'm worried. Will anybody know what good content is? Good original content is with heart and humor or purpose anymore because of what we're doing. We're turning ourselves into zombies thanks to AI.
We're the boiled frog, right?
Yes.
Right, exactly. I think there's going to be a massive pendulum effect. I've said this for a couple of years now. I think that one day it's going to just be like, and even you see it now with Gen Z and Gen Alpha, like they don't want AI. They don't want, at least that's what all of my kids and my kids' friends are saying. In the neighborhood, it's like kids, this idea that, I want to make my own music. I don't want that synthetic stuff. I don't want to, that's AI. I mean, who knows? But I don't know that they'll have a choice one day. But either way, it's almost like to them, it's not cool if it's AI. Now, of course, if they're teacher says, write this boring paper, they're like, oh, I'm using AI. That's really cool.
Yes.
But when it comes to the arts and taste and like story and music and things, they're like, no, AI sucks. But it's interesting. Just kind of something to keep a pulse on.
Yeah.
I've solved nothing in this conversation.
No, the whole point is that's where we're all at. And I think there's just there's a we can have clarity in the uncertainty just knowing that. I think at the end of the day, the human spirit will always, I think, carry the meaning and the deeper purpose. AI is never going to touch that. And then I think it's going to take sort of a deeper longing for that and a return to that that's going to create that pendulum effect, and it's going to show up in different ways as we move forward. But any final words of wisdom or?
I just think humility is your greatest weapon in the creative space, and continue to learn. Don't just be me scratching things out on a graph sheet of paper. And it's a partner. It should be looked at as a partner, and help you speed up your workflows. I can do a lot of left brain stuff using AI that used to really
in the areas where it slows you
the
down.
left brain podcast is saying they're freaking out because they're losing their left brain jobs. They're going, hey, at least the creatives, keep it in the right brain. You guys are okay. Like it's
right, because right now, AI is faking the right side.
Yeah, that's a good.
But I think the CPAs and the lawyers should be very worried.
They should be very worried
because it's cut and dry. It's black and white.
Right.
But
1 + 1 = 2, or it doesn't.
What we want to say is it's faking the right side of people's brains.
Yeah.
But we don't want to happen is people just get used to fake right brain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then that becomes, they've determined what the market has determined how much this is worth. And then so you're betting against, you're bidding against that, which is almost an impossible enemy.
Yeah. I think it's an opportunity for both left and right-brained people to create difference and distance through the experience they provide that is held, again, compete on the human level. Wherever that is in your industry, find that space and differentiate there. Don't try to compete on the same playing field as where AI is at.
Yeah.
So with that said, thank you guys for watching. Appreciate your time. Make sure to like and subscribe. Stay tuned for next time as we continue this journey down the creative road at the Creative Table. Thanks. We'll see you then.